Hey everyone, this is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it today because we are joined by the one, the only Miss Candy Spelling.
Hi, David.
Hello, Candy. Thank you for doing this. This is a long time in the making, and I am so happy to have you here today.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Listen, you just celebrated a birthday. I saw on Instagram you were out with all your friends. So life is good, right, Candy?
Life is terrific.
It is terrific. Now, I think one other thing that you probably find terrific, I live in New York City. I'm over here in Chelsea. So how happy are you that Broadway is back?
I am so thrilled. I can't tell you how exciting it is. And my first time in almost 2 years that I was in New York, finally at my apartment, I got to go to the Tonys, and of course, it was pretty exciting. What can I tell you? I mean, Moulin Rouge won 10 Tonys, which I get to keep one of them. And Tina won one Tony for, Best Actress. I mean, you can't do better than that. Adrienne Warren, who was spectacular. And we're doing really well. And, the only complaints that I'm hearing from everyone is they're freezing to death in all the theaters because they're trying to keep, the virus away by keeping it very cold in the theaters.
Oh, interesting. Well, I saw Tina and I saw Moulin Rouge. So, I mean, that's my point. How do you choose? Like, you're doing pretty good. I mean, Tina was phenomenal. It's won a Tony. Now we have Moulin Rouge as one. Like, how do you choose when you decide to invest in a play and get involved in co-producing?
But I start from the beginning. It's not just reading the script. They tell me the story, but it's really important that I go to the reading and really see what it's all about. And then I get into the money thing because that's always part of it, is what the deal is. It's always about the deal. And what the back end kicker is, and all the other things, and who's starring in it, how long do we have them for. I mean, there's a lot of things attached to it that was a lot different than when Aaron was doing television. Even though I was very involved in that, this is really it's more of, it takes longer because once you're in workshops and everything, it takes several years till you can develop a project. But I have to tell you, once you open on stage, there is instant gratification or not. I'm so lucky. I knock on wood that I have had not the experience of not. I mean, I have, I remember when we opened How to Succeed in Business with Daniel Radcliffe, and he said, oh my God, after opening night, he said, this is what I've been missing the whole time, was the audience. I didn't realize that, there wasn't an audience. Now I know what it feels like.
Wow. And you have MJ the musical coming up. So your 14th Broadway production. What can you tell us about that?
Oh, pretty exciting. I mean, this kid that we've got, I mean, he's like, since he was a young child, he has been dancing and singing, and he is so excited and nervous, and I'm just so thrilled. I mean, Sony is in with us 100%, which is pretty spectacular. It's, they didn't bring in a lot of producers. It's just, it's Sony and a few producers that are doing it. And I'm just so thrilled that I'm part of it. I mean, this man was a genius. It wasn't just the writing of all these songs, but it was the choreography. I mean, he never took dance lessons. He didn't, he wasn't taught to read music. He just was a genius. What can I say?
Wow. Well, you knew Michael. I mean, when your son Randy was here, he told a story about how one day I asked him if he ever got starstruck, and he said he went down to breakfast one day or something, and there Michael Jackson was in the living room or the kitchen. And I'm like, well, that's pretty much a moment, Randy. So what was Michael Jackson like?
oh my God, he was the best father. To see him with his kids, and many times we had dinner with the kids, and it was just a very small group of maybe just Michael, the two kids, and one night it was with Barbara Davis, Aaron, and myself, and Michael and the two kids, and they wanted to eat candy. We were at Barbara Davis's house, and she had candy out on all the tables, and they wanted to eat candy before dinner, and he said, "No, no, not now." I mean, he was just very soft and quiet, very much like what we saw Michael like. That's what he was like. You know,
Wow.
I remember one time Aaron saying he was in an elevator with him, and Aaron was always scared to go up in a high elevator, and Michael was saying, "Aaron, it's okay." And he had that soft, kind of kind voice about him. He never grew up. He was still a child.
Wow.
And
And look at Paris now. I mean, look what Paris is. I mean, she's booming in the
oh
business.
yeah,
And
yes.
what about, like you mentioned, you were by Aaron's side throughout, the greatest TV producer of all time. You were by his side through all those prolific years. Like, has that helped now that you are a producer yourself on Broadway? Like, can you channel your inner Aaron? Like, do you hear him in your
I
ear?
I think so. I mean, I could never do what he did. He used to go into a cutting room, and he could take a piece of film and treat it like a piece of clay. He could take, what was in the beginning of something and make it, towards the end, if it worked better there. And you would never know the difference. That's not something I could do, but I feel like I did come up with a lot of ideas along the way, and I've been able to contribute to a lot of these productions and come up with different ideas, and I've really enjoyed it. I mean, it's here I am in the I've had 2/3 of my life already, and I'm now have a whole new career. What
You
can I say?
do. And I mean, I think that's the thing, when people hear Candy Spelling, I think like if you're not in the Broadway scene and like, you don't live in New York, like I don't think they think Broadway is the first thing that comes to mind, but you really are a 14 Candy. That's not a fluke. I mean, you are a Broadway producer at this point. So,
Thank you. And two Tonys.
and two Tonys, where do you keep your Tony?
I keep them here in LA because I'm here more, even though I do have a small apartment in New York, and I always look forward to going there. It's kind of like a treat to me. It's like my getaway. And I don't know anyone in the building, but everyone that works in my building seems to know me as though I were there all the time, which always makes me feel good. It's like, it's like a second home, really.
It's
And
good to split your time.
yeah.
What about, like those early years? Like, I mean, these are some of the best TV shows like Charlie's Angels, The Love Boat, Family, Fantasy Island. Like, what was those early years with Aaron like? Like, when was Jacqueline Smith around the house all the time? Farrah Fawcett? Like, what was that like?
Well, you have to remember, Farrah Fawcett only did Charlie's Angels 1 year.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing year for her because she just exploded everywhere, as you know, and then had done that poster, and oh my God, it was like, she was a goddess on everybody's wall everywhere. And I don't know. I mean, my son was too young for that, thank God. But um, she exploded, but so did the other girls. So did Kate Smith, and so did Kate Jackson and Jacqueline Smith.
Jacqueline. Yeah.
And I mean, and I have to say, today I have not seen Kate, but today I see Jacqueline occasionally, and she's just as beautiful today at 76 as she was when she was a young girl. I mean, incredible.
She really is.